Okay, a little bit more about center lines. Um, when we place one here, you'll notice that it didn't kick. There we go. It centers it on the length of it. It centers it on the length of the line that you picked, so it doesn't go all the way up into there. That's why I selected it a while ago and I drug it up. And you see it changes the pattern based on this right here being the center of it. So you can see it changes the pattern. Well, I can adjust the center of the center line a little bit. I don't know if I have to do both of those or not, but anyway, so if I grab the placement handles, I can adjust the length of it and play with it and get a decent center line out of it. Okay. Another way to do things is, and this is helpful when you've got, like I said before, the keyway or a truncated hole, is to use automated center lines. And that's this button right here. And you select your view. And in here you have a choice of what you're trying to get the center line for. And in this case, we're dealing with a hole. Okay. The projection is we're looking at it parallel to the axis, not endpoint. So I'm going to select that one. And then that, most of the time, that should be all you have to do. You may have to play around with some of these other things a little bit. So I'll say, okay. And there it brings the center line over based on the geometry of the model. Okay. That pretty well covers center lines. Okay, symbols. You've got all of these automated symbols here that Inventor can put in, and in this class, the only one you'll have to worry about would be a surface texture symbol. And you basically what that means is that surface has a treatment done to it to give it a certain flatness. Okay, that's a real simple explanation for it. But you'll see it in some of your drawings. And so if you do see that, include it. And it needs to be in every view where that surface is seen perpendicular. Okay, so let's say this surface up here needs to be a treatment. I'll just use it for example. And so I come down here and I want to get close to it until it highlights, and then I'll click and place it, and then right click my mouse and go continue, and it places it right on that line. If you were to drag it out to the side, it would put a leader to it. Now, you don't have to mess with any of this stuff here for this class. In 1107, we'll get very deep and detailed into this stuff. So I would just say okay. And then because that surface has a treatment, this surface over here also has a treatment. And so I would place one there also. Okay, and so that'll be the only symbols that you're going to be dealing with. Okay. We're not dealing with parts list or tables in this class for these things. So we're not dealing with balloons or revisions or anything like that. Until later, when you start doing corrections to your drawings. And a revision table is just that. And so we'd say, okay. And most of the time they go over here, but since we got an isometric view right up there, we can pop it right there. And now when you have when you make corrections to your drawings, we're going to do these and I'll cover that later on, but you have a revision cloud that you draw in. And what that does is it highlights the area where you made a change or a revision to, and then that would get a revision tag. Okay. And that just says, okay, so that was revision number 1, and it goes with the table up here. And then you would come right here, corrections, whatever. Okay. But that'll come later on in the class. Okay. All right. Did automated center lines. It did those things. Sketches, text, and leader. You can add. Let's. I didn't do that right, but you can add a second arrowhead and leader to it. So we right click it and go add vertex leader, and then pick where the arrowhead's going to go, and then bring it back to where it's going to connect, and you've added a second arrowhead. Okay. Chamfers. I talked about chamfers. I didn't show you a chamfer, so we'll. And you may need to play with it and drag that down. Okay. All right. So often chamfer is easier just to do a regular leader with it. Okay, so baseline dimensions. Let me clean this stuff out here so I've got some room. Oh, I don't want to delete the view. Okay, so if you remember in AutoCAD, we've got a baseline dimension that works off of the first linear dimension that you put in. With Inventor, you pretty much select. Well, you could select a starting dimension if you wanted to, but we'll just go ahead and select. And what you do is you select the vertical parts, and then we'll go with that corner. Okay. And then it will create your baseline dimensions and stack them. Okay. Pretty easy there. The chain is just like the AutoCAD continue dimension. Let me delete this first. Okay, so chain, and I pick the lines or the points that I need, and then right click, continue, and then drag them out and place them. Okay, and so that makes them in a chain across there. One thing I didn't talk about was the auto arrange. If you, for some reason, put in a bunch of dimensions and you didn't line them up correctly, okay, you can select them all and then go arrange, and it lines them all up together, and then you can place them the correct distance off. Okay, I think that covers everything we need to know about dimensioning. Isometric dimensioning, you're going to do it in the exercise this week. We usually don't dimension isometric drawings because it is so difficult to do. And just the straightforward stuff is not that big a deal, but what it does is it dimensions based on planes. And because these are vertical lines, it will place it in the vertical plane. But you saw if I select this line, it wants to put it in the horizontal plane. Okay, so it's just really difficult dimensioning isometrically in Inventor. Now we're going to do it in the exercise for this week so that you can see how it is. Just to give you an idea here. Okay, so it's really difficult because it's hard to control what plane the things go on. But we're going to do it in there. You shouldn't do it anymore ever in classes here because we just do not dimension isometrically in the classes here because it's even in the industry, it's rare that you would dimension an isometric drawing. Okay, so that's tutorials for this week. There's a couple of other videos that you're going to be watching dealing with metric files, pack and goes, and then projects. And then you've got, I think, 3 drawings or something like that this week. So if you have questions on any of these things, send me an email, come by the lab, get some help, okay?